Welcome everybody to day 40 of building the flight booking engine. If you've been learning and growing with me over the past 40 days, trust me, you must be very, very far in your understanding of everything. Today, I want to get even deeper into building this project, but take time to think about a tool called Alembic. Actually, one of the viewers in one of the streams mentioned Alembic, and I promised to look at it in detail. And excuse me, seeing how the progress has been going over the past few weeks, I discovered I had to use it. And coming from Django, I'm very used to Django handling the migrations without me having to install any third-party tool. I think the only disappointing thing I'm discovering about the FastAPI and this whole SQL model world is that you have to actually use a third-party tool to be able to have what is it called, uh, the migrations, okay? And also this kind of things like this line of code on line 19, you don't have to write it. So because I had to constantly test things and break my models, doing migrations was becoming a pain, okay? Doing migrations became very difficult, and it has forced me to actually take time to study Alembic. I got away with it by prompting AI, okay? I prompted AI because I paid for Copilot, like I told you a few weeks ago. But the challenge is that, yes, Copilot, after prompting it several times, was able to help me do a migration using Alembic, but I don't understand things, okay? So if you look at this directory, I have a directory called Alembic, okay? With its .env.py, okay? There's this file called run migrations offline, run migrations online, but like I don't know what is going on. That's a fact, okay? So it became disturbing. There's even another file, I think, which is somewhere, if I can find it. Where is it? Alembic.ini, okay? This was generated, but I'm just lost, okay? I saw that the migration worked successfully. It worked 100%, but I can't tell what is going on, okay? So I decided that this could be a good chance for me to just take time to learn about Alembic with you, because I'm sure many of you, when I push this code, will also wonder what Alembic is, okay? So if you're like me, let's learn it together, okay? Just to take a few minutes to study it, and then in the next stream we shall continue with building the project. And of course, like I told you, I think I'm not sure if I mentioned it in the previous stream, this model, I want to change the bookings model, okay? I want this bookings model to be able to store things like the actual payment status, okay? So you see the status here is the status for when the booking is either pending, confirmed, or cancelled. But I want to add things like the payment status. I want it to handle more information so that in the front end we display more information from this. Actually, I'm feeling that this this booking model should have the entire response from Amadeus, okay? And I want to have like a JSON field whereby we have something like flight order, okay? Maybe response, something like this, okay? And this will be, I'll call it maybe, I can annotate it with a dict, okay? And the type, I want the type to be, I don't know whether there's a JSON field in SQL model, okay? But in Django, you can do something like, those of you who know models.json field, okay? So that I can store JSON, okay, in the database. So I want to use Alembic for this kind of stuff. So let's go to the browser and I'll type Alembic, Alembic migrations, okay? Let's try to study it. Alembic official docs, official documentation of Alembic. I want to study it and make sure I understand it, okay? So let's give it some time. So they say, welcome to Alembic's documentation. They're saying Alembic is a lightweight database migration tool for usage with SQLAlchemy database toolkit for Python. And you know that SQLAlchemy is the tool that SQL model was built on top of. If you go to my code and see, we have imported SQL or SQL model. If I hover over it and click, okay, you'll see we have, if you look at it closely, you'll see that there are implementations of what is it called? SQLAlchemy, okay? In fact, when I was studying FastAPI, we saw that SQL model was mentioned to be an abstraction of SQLAlchemy from the official documentation. So let's study this, okay? Of course, this is the table of contents. It's impossible to go through all this, of course, today. But what I want is like the basic, okay? Something basic to give a very good understanding. I see they have the front matter, homepage, installation. Let me go to installation first. I usually like starting from the installation, okay? So if you don't have it, okay, we're going to read through this very fast. They're saying Alembic is hosted on GitHub under the SQLAlchemy organization. Releases and projects status are available at PyPy. The most recent version of this documentation should be at this address. They're saying installation. While Alembic can be installed system-wide, it's more common that it's installed local to a virtual environment, as it also uses libraries such as SQLAlchemy and database drivers that are more appropriate for local installations. They get on to say the documentation below is only one kind of approach to installing Alembic for a project. There are many such approaches. The documentation below is provided only for those users who otherwise have no specific setup chosen. So they're saying is only one kind of approach for installing Alembic for a project. So they're saying to build a virtual environment for a specific project, a virtual environment can be created using the Python. Of course, by now, if you're watching this and you've spent 40 days, I'm sure you know that you're good at Python and you know how to create a virtual environment. Hello, my friend. You are cool. Wow. I'm humbled. Thank you. Europe. Thank you for being active in the chat. And welcome to today's stream. All of you who are watching right now or who are watching after this stream, I appreciate. You are cool too. The same there is now a Python interpreter you can access in this. Of course, if you've been working with Python, you know the location of your Python interpreter, okay? And this is the way to activate it, okay? You find your virtual environment, go to a location called bin, then activate, okay? Using the source command. But what we're looking for is this, okay? Pip install Alembic. They're saying this install will add Alembic command to the virtual environment. All operations with Alembic in terms of this specific virtual environment will then proceed through the usage of this command. Now I remember something. When I was prompting the AI, okay, AI did something. Okay, let me go to some AI installed it. Now I understand what it did. If I go to pyproject.toml, okay, in my case I said uv add, it should be Alembic. Why is Alembic not here? Alembic, yes, it's here. See, line 8, Alembic. So instead of pip install Alembic, I did uv add Alembic. They're saying the install will add the Alembic command to the virtual environment. all operations with Alembic in terms of this specific virtual environment will then proceed through the usage of this command. All operations with Alembic in terms of this specific virtual environment will then proceed through the usage of this command, as in Alembic init Alembic. Now they're saying, finally, assuming your project is itself installable, meaning it has a pyproject.toml file or setup.py script, the local project can be made a part of the local same environment by installing it with pip, optionally using editable mode. That is using -e. Okay, interesting. So you're saying Alembic's install process will ensure SQLAlchemy is installed in addition to other dependencies. Alembic will work with SQLAlchemy of version 1.40. So they're just simply talking about installation. And if you want to know how these packages are versioned, you can read this, but I don't want to go into that. Okay. But you can get into that if you want to know how they are versioned. But the main goal is understanding installation. Now I'm telling you, when I prompted the AI, it did, because my project is not using pip, but using UV. So it was UV add. What's this? Let me kill this one. I don't need it. Okay. So I'll clear the screen. It was UV add Alembic. Okay. That was the command. Okay. And it was added successfully. Okay. So you see, resolved, audited. Okay. Meaning no need to add it anymore. Okay. Otherwise, we'd have seen an addition. Then next up, I want to go to, of course, the dependencies, version scheme. You can look at community, the current bugs. Okay. And there's so many things. Like I said, we cannot look at all, but the goal is to have a basic understanding of what it is. Okay. Then later, okay, as we learn, we can always reference the tutorial, or we can always use AI, but at least we shall be doing things that we understand. Okay. Not like how I've been gambling with migrations. So tutorial. I don't know why. I wish if the guys of like Flask and FastAPI would copy how migrations are done in Django. It would make life so easy. Like it's sometimes I have been getting some freelance projects, and sometimes I get the opportunity to build a backend in with what I want, but I find myself going back to Django. But let me give it some time. Probably it's because I'm new to FastAPI and this whole environment. Like you all know, I learned FastAPI from scratch. You saw me learn FastAPI. You saw me start the project, the backend from scratch. Okay. This is the first project I'm building using FastAPI. Probably because it's the first time, it makes sense. Okay. And I've built several Django projects. So it makes sense that FastAPI would have something strange and maybe a little bit steeper to it. And then Django would look easier because I've done it for some time. But that's fair enough. Okay. Let's get into this. It says Alembic provides the creation, management, and invocation of change management scripts for a relational database. I'll make this bigger so that you see. This tutorial will provide a full introduction to the theory and usage of this tool. To begin, make sure Alembic is installed. A common way to install within a local virtual environment is described at installation. This is the page we are from. They're saying, let's continue reading. Where is the next full stop? They're saying, as illustrated in that chapter, okay, which is the installation chapter, it is useful to have Alembic installed in the same module or Python path as that of the target project. Okay, usually using a Python virtual environment. In other words, to achieve the same module or environment I mean, to achieve the same module Python path, simply create a virtual environment where your project is, okay, and simply install Alembic into it. That's what they're trying to say. So they're saying so that when Alembic command is run, the Python script which is invoked by Alembic, namely your project's env.py script, will have access to your application's models. This is not strictly necessary, however, it is usually preferred. What I understand is this, okay? Like, for example, this is the project code backend, okay? This is where I should run Alembic, okay? I should install Alembic in the batch environment called backend, okay? So that this file env.py, where is it? env.py, I guess this is this one here, okay? Should be in the same project directory, okay? That's the whole goal. The backend is this one here, backend, okay? You can see the venv is my virtual environment, okay? And also Alembic was created in the same directory, this Alembic. That's what they're saying. Simply work within the same project directory, okay? They're saying it's not necessary, but usually preferred. I'll go with what is preferred. And now they're saying the tutorial below assumes the Alembic command line utility is present in the local path when invoked. We'll have access to the same Python module environment as that of the target project. Okay, and they've explained to us how to do that. The migration environment, they're saying usage of Alembic starts with creation of the migration environment. This is a directory of scripts that is specific to a particular application. The migration environment is created just once and is then maintained along with the application's source code itself. Okay, so the migration environment is created once and is then maintained along with the application source code itself. So the first step they're saying is to create a migration environment. Okay. Ideally, I can say the very first step, of course, is installation in your project's working directory in a virtual environment. Then after that, we create what they're calling a migration environment. And this is we do it only once, okay, and is maintained along with the application's code. Then they're saying the environment is created using the init command of Alembic and is then customizable to suit the specific needs of the application. Now I understand what AI was doing by saying init. So it's in the structure of this environment, including some of the generated scripts, looks like. So they say your project, then they have alembic.ini. So the project, your project is like, for example, like backend, okay? Is my project, okay? Then after backend, they're saying pyproject.tomo. I have a pyproject.tomo. Where is it? Which was created by the UV command. See, I have a pyproject.tomo here, okay? Then they say Alembic, an Alembic directory, which is this one here. Okay, see, Alembic directory. Then after that, they have an env.py, which is this one here, env.py. Now I understand what AI did. Readme, which is this one, this readme. They're saying script.py.macro, which is this one here, script.py.macro. Okay. So I'm now understanding that it's the init command that created all this. Then you have versions. Okay. Which is this. For us, we have one here. Okay. Versions. Makes sense. Okay. So you're saying the directory includes these files. Okay. So they're now trying to explain each of the files in detail. Okay. But at least now I'm going to understand what these files are. Okay. It's not like I'm now working like a ghost. Okay. Which is good. So it's good to understand things you're working with so that in the event that we prompt AI to create for us migrations, we understand what is going on. So let us start. Alembic.ini. They're saying this is Alembic's main configuration file, which is generated by all templates. Okay. A detailed walkthrough of this file is later in the section editing the ini file. Okay. No need for that right now. We need the main configuration file for Alembic. I have it here. Where is alembic.ini? This one here, okay? It's the main configuration file. Then after that, there's in pyproject.toml. Most modern Python projects have a pyproject.toml file. Alembic may optionally store project-related configurations in this file as well. To use the pyproject.toml configuration, C, using pyproject for configuration. Okay, we have it because we have been working with UV. Thankfully, it's already there. Say your project, say this is the root of your application source code or some directory within it. So ours is called backend. Okay, ours is called backend in this case. Okay, it's backend. Let's go on. Alembic. So this directory lives within your application source code tree and is the home of the migration environment. It can be named anything. A project that uses multiple databases may have more than one. Okay. So I don't know what you guys say. Are you understanding? Are you guys understanding what is going on? Please let me know in the comment section. Does this make sense? I hope you actually get it. Okay. So the thing is the main directory, which is this one. In my case, it's this one here, Alembic. Okay. All right. Tarif Ahmed. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. Saying on video 11 on booking flight over orders too much of postman errors. Oh, interesting. What postman errors are you facing? Are you facing the errors which I faced or they are new errors? Yeah, errors are part of our learning. Okay. Yeah. So do not, sometimes it can be tough to go through errors and to avoid them. But over time, you learn by encountering more errors and overcoming them, you will learn how to overcome them. But let me know, what errors are you getting, Tarif? Please let me know. I want to know the errors. Okay. I could help you right now. Yeah, but video 11, don't worry. Take your time, okay? Step by step. Trust me, if you master the concepts that I have covered, okay, and practice and master them on your own, you'll go very, very far. Very, very far. Trust me. Personally, by doing these live streams, I've learned a lot. Just like you're seeing me learning right now, okay? I come here, turn on my camera, and yeah, I try to learn something. And that's what matters. So Alembic is saying this directory lives within your application's source tree and is the home of the migration environment. It can be named anything. A project that uses multiple databases may even have more than one. So, which is this one here? Or where is it? This one here. Alembic is what they're talking about. Okay. All right. It's the home of the migration environment. Say env.py. They're saying this is a Python script that is run whenever the Alembic migration tool is invoked. At the very least, it contains instructions to configure and generate a SQLAlchemy engine. Procure a connection from that engine with a transaction and then invoke the migration engine using the connection as a source of database connectivity. Okay. So whenever we invoke a Python script, okay, whenever it is invoked, I mean, whenever Alembic migration tool is invoked, okay, this env.py, okay, has instructions which configure and generates a SQLAlchemy engine, okay. The goal is that it helps us to create a connection to a database that we can use for doing transactions. That's what I've understood. Okay, they're saying the script is part of the generated environment so that the way migrations run is entirely customizable. Again, just to remind you, it is this one here they're talking about where is it? This one here, env.py. And just to let you know, sometimes these things you have to study them more than once. Personally, I'm also kind of like tired right now. Okay. And tomorrow during my free time, I'll read this again. Okay. Just to make sure I've understood it. So if you do something for the first time and it does not work out, do not get frustrated. Okay. It is very, very normal. Sometimes you might have to do something twice. Okay. Some other person might have to do it 5 times to understand it. So do not compare yourself to someone else. Okay. One person might read it once and they understand. Someone might read it 10 times and they understand. Another one 6 times. Another one twice, 3 times, 4 times. So it varies from person to person. So don't compare yourself with others. Okay. The goal is that you understand, even if it takes you 10 times to read it or 10 times to practice it. So they're saying the exact specifies of how to connect are here, as well as the specifics of how the migration are invoked. Okay. I need to read this again. They're saying the exact specifics of how to connect are here, as well as the specifics of how the migration environment are invoked. Now they're going to say the script can be modified so that multiple engines can be operated upon. Custom arguments can be passed into the migration environment. Application-specific libraries and models can be loaded in and made available. Alembic includes a set of initialization templates which feature different varieties of env.py for different use cases. Tarif says, no, actually, got this detail. Flight is no longer available for booking. Flight offers expire within minutes. Please search for flights again and complete the entire booking process. Oh, yes, Tarif. I know that error. So this is what you should do, Tarif, okay? In the flight booking industry, sometimes data can be stale, okay? Especially when you're in a test environment and you need to work with latest flights, okay? So to be able to get a flight which is available for booking, do this, okay? Tarif, do this. When you're searching for a flight in the project, if, for example, today, let me show you the calendar, okay? I want to show you an example. Today is 21, okay? 21st, rather. If you're searching a flight, okay? If you book like 21 as your departure, okay? 24th as your return, this 21 might fail you, okay? You may not get flights available for booking because we're using a test environment or a sandbox. So I'd suggest, for example, you try to check like maybe at least 3 days or 4 days away, like maybe 25th as your departure, then maybe 27th you get, or 28th. Okay, try to book dates which are slightly ahead, but not again very far ahead. Okay, so Tarif, do that and it will work. I have got that error also multiple times, and I discovered was because I was picking flights with close dates to the current date. Okay, so it's pretty normal, and Amados actually explained it very well. That if when you're working with test data, okay, you'll find that by the time you're trying to confirm a flight, okay, and make an order, the flight is already what? Not available. It is stale, okay, and has expired. And that is very true about the travel industry. Flights offers actually expire, okay? So yeah, that is true. So it's a normal error to get. I'm actually thinking of a better way to handle it, okay? To avoid people reaching that stage after confirming the order. That I want that to happen early, okay, while you're trying to search. It is something I've been thinking about. So Tarif, I hope I've helped you. Okay. If you've not understood, please ask a follow-up question. But that's the solution to that. Searching for flights, which are just like about 3 or 2 days from the current date. And the return should not be also very, very, very far. Okay. You'll see it will work. excuse me. So continue, says readme included with the various environment templates should have something informative. They're referring to this one here, okay? This one. But this one is simply having one statement saying a generic single database configuration. Then we go ahead and say script.py.macro. They're saying this is a macro template file which is used to generate new migration scripts. Whatever is here is used to generate new files within versions. This is scriptable so that the structure of each migration file can be controlled, including standard imports to be within each, as well as changes to the structure of the upgrade and downgrade functions. For example, the multi-DB environment allows for multiple functions to be generated using a naming scheme: upgrade engine 1, upgrade engine 2. Okay, this is simply a file used to generate new migration scripts. So this, okay, is used to generate migration scripts in this versions directory. Okay, and you see they're talking about functions. Okay, says including standard imports to be within, as well as changes to the structure of upgrade and downgrade. So if I minimize this, okay, you see we have two functions, upgrade and downgrade. Okay, we'll keep reading and understanding these things. The saying this directory holds the individual version scripts. Users of other migration tools may notice that the files here don't use ascending integers. Okay, and instead use a partial GUID approach. In Alembic, the ordering of version scripts is relative to directives within the scripts themselves and is theoretically possible to splice version files in between others, allowing migration sequences from different branches to be merged, albeit carefully by hand. Okay, simply handles versions. In simple terms, we have versions of our scripts right there. I want to cancel, reduce all, close all this. So they now go through the steps. Okay, creating an environment. They say with the basic understanding of what the environment is, we can create one using Alembic in it. They're saying this will create an environment using the generic template. Okay, so they're saying you see the into your project. Okay, in my case, I'm already into the project. Okay, if I clear, I'm already to clear. Okay, I'm already into the backend directory. Then they're saying, assuming this is a virtual environment, you activate it. Okay, main is already activated. Okay, you say source .venv bin, then activate like that. Main is already activated. It's called backend. Then after that, you can say Alembic init Alembic. Okay, Alembic init Alembic. That's what the AI did for me. Okay, so you see, it says directory Alembic already exists and is not empty. So I guess if it does not exist, it will be created. So when the above init command was called to generate the migrations, no, I have to read this again. Where, not when, but where above the init command was called to generate a migrations directory called Alembic. Okay, so which is this one here. Okay, this one here. But of course, in our case, it won't be created again. And I'm trying to giving what an example of what you'll see. Okay, so if you're running it for the first time, you will see this kind of stuff. So we continue saying the layout is produced using a layout template called generic. Alembic also includes other environment templates. This can be listed out using the list templates commands. Okay, they're saying Alembic list templates. Let me do that. Alembic list underscore templates. Like that. Okay, available templates, you see. then you get the same output. Okay, you get the same output. So they're saying change in version 1.16, a new Pi project template has been added. See, okay, this is something else. Okay, they're saying editing the ini file. They're saying Alembic placed a file alembic.ini into the current directory. Okay, again, I'll show you that it's right here, alembic.ini. Then we continue to read. It says Alembic looks in the current directory for this file when Alembic looks in the current directory for this file when any other commands are run. To indicate an alternative location, the config option may be used, or the Alembic config environment variable might be set. Okay, so Alembic looks in the current in the current directory for this file when other commands are run. All right, the same tip. The file generated with the generic configuration template contains all directives for both source code configuration as well as database configuration. When using the Pi project template, the source code configuration elements will instead be in a separate Pi project.toml file described in the section using Pi project.toml for configuration. They're saying the all-in-one ini file created by generic is illustrated below. Okay, so this is like what the content is. And if we come here, you see, we get similar, we have similar stuff. Okay, I'm seeing things like format, date format, the logger, level, etc. It's a lot. Tarif, I hope I answered your question. Okay, I see time is quite fast spent, and truth be told, I actually feel tired. Okay, really tired. So there's no way we can study all this. Okay, but the purpose of me bringing up this is that sometimes AI shouldn't lie to us. We need to understand things deeply. So going forward, I'll spend about 10 minutes, but 10 to 30 minutes every day, okay? Just reading all this so that I get to understand it, okay? Of course, where I am right now, it's getting late, and after a long week and a long day of working and sleeping for short hours, my mind is kind of tired, okay? But with a fresh mind, trust me, many of you who have been learning together with me, you've known that sometimes I could do live streams for 2 hours, almost 3 hours, okay? So you try to read this. I don't know what you said. Do you think should I create a follow-up video on this? Do you know what I'm not going to rush, okay? I'm not going to rush, okay? I am going to make sure we finish this, okay? We're going to finish this. Let me see. What do you say? You guys who are watching right now, help me decide. Should I follow this tutorial to the end? Okay. Or should I continue with the flight booking engine and then we read everybody reads this on their own, okay? So that we don't crash the learning, okay? But try to read it, okay? Read it and then let's see. Okay. Those who are watching right now, what do you say? Should I create another session, okay, where we try to go deeper into this, or should everybody read? Personally, I think everybody should maybe read this so that we continue with building, okay? Just 10 minutes every day or 30 minutes every day. This can get done in a week, okay? In a week. Right now, I see it's about 40 minutes since I began this stream, and trust me, I'm worn out, okay? I'm worn out. So yeah, and from time to time when we need it, I'll explain to you, because time is going to come when we are going to update the project, and I will need to actually make migrations, okay? So from time to time, I'll explain to you what I've understood about Alembic, and if possible, I can actually create a separate tutorial about it, okay? That would actually work. All right. Let's stop for now here, but I wanted to make you aware about this data migration tool. And like I've told you, I'm going to be reading sections of this every day until I understand the details of Alembic. And if you're interested in us doing maybe videos concerning this, please let me know. But it's very important that you do read it and understand. Okay. In case you don't understand anything, please let me know. I'll take the time to explain. Okay. But yeah, that's it. So far, what we have read, I think we've ended at the contents of the ini file. Let me see. Yes, this way we have ended. Okay. But like you see, there's nothing actually really hard about it. So yeah, I'm planning to clean up a few things in the code and then push it so that you guys can have access to it tomorrow. Otherwise, thank you for learning with me. We are almost there with the flight booking engine. So bye for now and see you in the next stream.